All right. So to make sure none of your brains are dozing off, I'd like to start off with a question for everyone. There's no need to answer it. Just take a moment and think about it in your head. How many U's are there? As for me, I know the answer. It's 1. And even though you might be thinking, well, that's obvious, because I'm the only one up here, and I promise you I don't have a secret twin. But if you just bear with me over the next few minutes, you'll know what I'm talking about, and you might even put into question the answer that you have just given yourself. No, I've never been much of a creative person. I think this, you can't really tell well, but this hand-drawn rendition of a strawberry is pretty much the extent of my handcrafting abilities. But when it comes to starting new things and kind of getting into unknown territories, my nerves and my mind, they go wild about bizarre events that could happen, and they get more creative than Martha Stewart this time of year. So when I came to starting college, I was looking for any advice that I could get just to help me calm down and really figure out what this whole college deal was about and how I could make the most of my few years ahead. And while both of my parents had gone to college, their advice wasn't really what I was looking for. Be it that I didn't want their parental concerns and desires to influence my own unique experience, or just the general stubbornness of a child against any parental advice. So instead, I went to talk to coaches and teachers and friends. And while they all had a unique story, there was one general theme that they all told me, and that was that college was a time of entering adult life. It was a time to build your character and meet good friends. It was a time to educate yourself, and it was a time to train for a career. And to do this, they said to get involved, take challenging classes, get into honor societies, and they told me to work, network, go to workshops, and do internships. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. And so I did, and that's where the 3 me's come into the story. The personal me, the academic me, and the professional me. And knowing that I would want to finish college a year early, I didn't want to wait to get started. So I started here in fall 2016, and in January I interviewed for the honors program to which I had been invited to apply. And once I was accepted, I decided to come here because I was already checking off one of the academic me's. Over the summer, I began looking at classes that I want to be taking and the active student organizations on campus. Now, I was excited for fall to come around and to start working on the 3 me's and accelerating into my future. I worked hard in my classes, I got involved with the College Democrats, and I attended networking events on campus. I made some great friends, I was placed on the dean's list, and I was able to meet a lot of politically active members of the community and even some political representatives. Now, when the semester was over, I was glad for a break, but I was also looking forward to the new year and new opportunities. In the new year, it was fun to not be a disoriented freshman anymore. So I was looking for a fun way to pass time that would enhance my studies. And I remembered the Talent Gateway. And at this time, I'd done a few challenges for attending a new student convocation, but nothing more than that. And I decided to give it another try. So as I was doing these challenges over the next several months, there was a lot of them. There was some that talked about joining student organizations, about taking unique classes, community service opportunities, and it just asked you to talk about that. But then there was one component in all of them that asked you to reflect, Drew had said, how this challenge helped you grow personally, academically, and professionally. And as I kept doing that over the next several months, I kept finding it harder and harder to decipher what about that challenge helped me develop personally, academically, and professionally. And that's where I kind of began to realize that I'd been looking at it from a wrong perspective. I hadn't been acknowledging that I could only unfold the full potential of each of the 3 me's without knowing that they're one holistic system that's interdependent of each other. My personal self could only come to its full potential if I enjoyed my academics, and my academics could only be at their best if I was happy. And the same with a career. I can only do good in a career if I have the academics to back it up, and then I can only really be happy if I like my career. And at first, I was even more confused because I realized there was a 4th component, a 4th me in play, and that was passion. passion for what I was, like who I was becoming as a person, passion for what I was studying, and a passion for what I was going to do as a career. And that really was like, that one passion was able to pull these three me's together like a gravitational force and help me accelerate into who I was becoming. And it really became clear when I was accepted to an internship at the Canadian Parliament this past summer. Because every day that I was in Ottawa, I was loving what I was doing. Be it the office work, the people I got to meet, or just the fun activities and the experiences I had with my friends. And yes, taking a picture on the red carpet. Even though, when on the last day of my internship, I was able to meet the Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, I was ecstatic. But also, it just really was this, like, the climax of an amazing experience for myself, for my academics, and my professional life. And let me tell you, I was shaking in that photo, but I was so glad of the high-resolution camera for capturing all the me's so clearly. Thank you. Thank you.